Hi guys, it's Emily from Novelle Novels and welcome to today's video. This is the currently reading tag. Now I was tagged to do this a long time ago by the lovely Books I'm Not Reading. Sorry it's taken a long time to do, but you know me, I'm booked up. I don't think I've got any video gaps now until January. That's how far booked I am, and January will book up really quickly because it'll be all the wrap-up posts. So yeah, expect I've got a very busy schedule. Just to let you know, and if I haven't told you already, I'm not going to be doing Vlogmas this year. I'm not going to be doing any extra. I think I've got probably 1 or 2 extra videos planned for December. One of them's the readathon announcement, but not too many because I'm trying to take the pressure off myself. So yes, currently reading. This is what I love. I love this video because it's going to be a chatty one. I don't have to go and find books. I can just play it all by ear. It can be very me. It can be very rambling. Yeah, you know me. So this tag was created by Charlie Ray, which I'll link down below, and I will link the tag video that I was tagged in with the prompts down below as well, because I am literally rushed off my feet at the moment. The joys of being a mum and getting closer to Christmas. Got a lot to do. So, enough rambling, let's get on with the prompts. Prompt number 1. How many books do you usually read at once? Normally about 4 or 5. It's normally about 4. 4 is my comfortable number, to be honest. It's the number that I am happiest reading because as I will explain when I read the prompts, it's a number that I can manage. I don't like to have 1 book on the go. I don't like to have 2 books on the go. For me, 3 or 4 is perfect. And I think going forward to next year, that's another thing. I'm cutting down my buddy reads for next year, and I'm going to try and stick to like 3 or 4 books at a time. But what happens is you get readathons and read-alongs, and you have to put the books in to match the prompts, and it's like, ah! Obviously, my Tudor along is going to be going on till like middle of next year. So that will always be, so I will always have 1 of those books on the go. I will normally have a classic on the go. I will normally have a bedtime book. So yeah, it pretty much actually is going to be 4 books really. Any more than that and it tends to freak me out. If I go 5 I can manage, 6 is just out of my control. And that all of these are physical, because if I don't count the fact that I sometimes have an audiobook on the go. And that's going forward something I'm going to be doing a bit more of. But my audiobooks, I don't tend to count them like in my reading wrap-ups. I don't talk about them in my wrap-ups because they're just books that are just there in the background. Maybe should I count those in the wrap-ups and stuff? Would you like to know about that? I don't count them on my physical TBR list, so let me know down below about that. Right, next one. 2. If you're currently reading more than 1 book at a time, how do you decide when to switch to reading the other book? Do you read a certain amount of pages in each? No. This is very much, what I've done is I've put the books one side so I can explain to you the ones I'm reading at the moment. So at the moment, I will always have a classic on the go, normally a classic to read, a big classic to read over the whole course of the month. So I have a set number of pages that I read of this a day. This is the one that's a set number. It's normally about 50 pages a day, but depending on how long I've got to how big it is and how long I've got to read it in the month. So going forward, obviously I've got my Charles Dickens project next month, and the books are around about 74 pages. What I will do is, because I work 2 days a week and I have Baz books a 3rd day, so that is 3 out of the 7 days that are booked. So that I tend to split it into 4 days, 4 comfortable days of reading, and I'll break that down. So however many books I've got to read in pages I've got to read in a week, I'll break that into 4, and then I'll read that set number of pages in those 4 days. That way I don't have to read the classic on my busier days, like I said, my Thursdays, my Fridays and my Sundays. I don't read any of the classic-y ones, and I can just focus on the less. So it's normally about 50 pages-ish a day on that. Then I've got my Tudor along, which I will try and read like a chapter a day. Because these Tudor along books aren't very long now. I can easily read a chapter on the days when I've got quiet days, so I tend to read them. And normally the chapters are like 30 pages days, but it can, like I said, I can pick that up. This one I don't feel like I'm under as much pressure to read because it is shorter. So if I'm having a good day, I'll try and read a chapter or 2. If I've got more time, if I've got less time, I won't put myself under pressure on that a day. Then I will have like a historical fiction book or a thriller or a fantasy or a thriller. This is the one I'm just starting today, but so this would have already been read by the time this video goes live. So this is historical fiction and it's set in 1944. I'm going to read a chunk of this. It's not a set number of pages. It'll be until about 7 o'clock, between 6 and 7 o'clock at night, I'll stop reading this. So however much reading I get done before then, bear in mind I have housework to do, I have cooking to do, I have kids to pick up. That will depend. So normally I can get through at least 100 pages, but I don't put any pressure on myself. This is literally what I do. And then from 7 onwards, I will then read my contemporary, or if I've got a light historical fiction book, like a wartime book or a middle grade book or a YA book. So I will always read my contemporary, my YA, or like a lighter historical fiction book in the evening after 7 o'clock. Again, I tend to get through at least 100. Last night I started reading this. Bear in mind, yesterday I was working when I'm filming this. I read 140 pages last night. Page 2 I can read very quickly, very fast. It's easy to read, and I'll read till about 10 o'clock at night. So between 7 and 10 I read, then 3 hours. Again, it depends on how much I read. Her books aren't long. They are rereads for all of mine. This is only 340 pages. I'm probably going to finish this tonight, so because it's just cozy. I like to read. So how I decide it is I need an easy book to read in the evening. So from 7 onwards, it's nothing too heavy, nothing scary, nothing that's going to get to me, nothing that's going to kill me. That's what I read in the evening. And then, like I said, I read the harder hitting books until about 7. It's between 6 and 7 I will stop reading that harder hitting book. Number 3, sorry, that was a long ramble then. Number 3, do you ever switch bookmarks when you're partway through a book? No. Like I showed you, like I said in the previous videos, my bookmarks match my books. So, because this book has not been started, I can show you it. Between the pages of the book is a lovely place to be. So that bookmark tends to match that book. My page 2 book is a pink. It matches colour-wise. So I'll see if I can show you. It's my Emily bookmark. It's pink. They've got to be colour coordinated, and I will never switch them halfway through. This is a bookmark that the lovely Berna from Byrne's Bookish Adventures gave me, and that kind of ornately matches with that. And then my 6 Tudor Queen book, you can see it, an orange bookmark because it goes like gold. Look. Never ever switch bookmarks unless I sort of think that the colour doesn't match, but no, never ever switch bookmarks. Where do you keep a book you're currently reading? Right, they change places. So I have today, where I'm sitting in what is effectively Chris's seat as soon as he gets home from work. So I have a chair over there, and I have a cube thingy that I've got all my books. My books to read over the whole course of the day will normally stay on that cube. But what I always do is, if I've got a stay-at-home day, I will start them here, next to me, next to where I'm filming, with the books that I'm going to be reading until he gets home. This book will stay over there because I will be reading that when the kids get back to bed, and that'll be over there. Sometimes, if I know I'm not going to be reading until the evening, it will stay in my bedroom. The contemporary book will either stay in my bedroom or stay over there. The books that I've got to read before he gets home will be over here. And this one I'm going to keep over here until, like I said, I will have time to read some of this before Chris gets home. But yeah, it's normally either here if it's temporarily, if I know I'm going to get a chance to sit down, or over there. They're the sort of ones that I'm doing, tend to be 2 places. Number 5, what time of day do you spend most time reading? I'm a mum. I work part-time. I have a busy lot. I also have chronic pain, so the big bulk of my reading, where I'll sit solidly for a solid chunk of time, which will be the next question, is in the evening, but I will read during the day. I will read no matter morning, night, day, whatever I can. I have to, because of the chronic pain, I have to read in little sort of steps. So when I get back from school and I need to sit down and rest, I'll read a chunk then I'll do a bit of housework, then I'll go back to reading, and that is literally my life. I have reading spells where I start reading for a little bit, then doing some housework. But the evening, post sort of 7:30ish, when Thomas goes to bed, is when I will sit literally solidly from about 7:45 till about 9:15. to 9:30 when I go to bed. I'm really sad. I'll read then solidly once I've got Mia's got a toast to make. I don't stop. Like literally, I get Thomas to bed, come downstairs, make Mia a snack because she's always hungry. Then I'll sit down and I'll be like, right, that's it, that's me done. I do not move until Thomas goes to bed, until I go to bed. And then I will tend to get to bed about 9:30ish and have another solid, like, sort of set time reading. But the evenings are when I get my big bulk done. I love to read all the time. How long do you typically read in one go? During the day, it's anything from half an hour to an hour in one sort of set chunk. And then I'll do something and I'll come back. So during the day, it's half an hour to an hour. In the evening, it's normally about a couple of hours. I do my big chunk then. Number 7, do you read hardcovers with the dust jacket on or off? Now, I always, before this month, read them with the hardcovers on, but then I found that I was getting a crease right at the top. And I read someone, I think it's Art from Bookshelf Odyssey, he takes his dust jackets off and stores them somewhere and then puts them back on when he's done reading. And that's what I did for Three Sisters by Heather Morris. And it preserved the book a lot safer. So going forward, that's what I'm going to be doing now. I'm going to be taking the dust jackets off. What position do you mainly use to read? Sitting up. Apart from at bedtime, where I will occasionally, when I get really tired, lie down. Or if I'm having a flare, I will sometimes lie down. But it's normally sitting up because it's the most comfortable position to hold my book in. Number 9, do you take the book you're currently reading everywhere you go? No. The only place a book that I'm currently reading will go is at work on a Friday morning, because I have a set time between getting to work and my shift starting. And that is because, again, that's an inbuilt time that I deliberately have set myself to start work at 9:30, so that once I've dropped the kids off, I can get to town, have a coffee and have a read for about 25 minutes to half an hour, just to give myself a break, because the journey to work, and sometimes when my chronic pains are flaring up, knacker me out. So that is the only time I will ever bring a book anywhere I am. I don't have time on a Sunday to read while I'm working. And I don't go anywhere to sort of sit down. I think, to me, like when I'm not at home, I'm either at Baz Books, my work, or my mum's, pretty much, or in town, and I'm a bit on my go. Sometimes I'm going to try again to push myself to going into town shopping and have a coffee and take a book with me. That's my goal for the week this video goes live. I'm going to town and I'm going to push myself to go to a coffee shop and sit down and have a coffee and a cake and a book. I've not done it in a while because my anxiety's been too bad, but I'm going to try. So in that case, I will do it, or if I'm going to work, but not normally. Let's see if I can do this, guys. Can you give me the push to encourage myself to go to a coffee shop next week? Sounds like pathetic, doesn't it? Number 10, how do you update your progress in the book you're currently reading on Goodreads? I don't do it, never have done, never will. I'll either put read or unread, or currently reading. I won't do percentage or anything like that. It'll be currently reading, and then when I finish it, finished. That's all I do. I don't like to do percentages, page numbers, anything like that, no. Why give myself extra work? I'm not doing it. And now to the point where I'm tagging people. I'm going to tag Alice from Alice's Giant Bookshelf. She's not done this. Alex Black Reads, because I like tagging her now. We'd sort of tag each other. Jem from Gemma Books. Well, if you get time, Jem, do it. If not, I know you're busy at the moment. Totally understand that. And then Marilyn Meyer Mendoza. I'd love to know how you do. You're currently reading. I don't think you've done this tag yet, but if you have, don't worry about it. And that's it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, not subscribed yet, ring on my ding-a-ling. And I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.